Alright, here I am, folks. So, Andrew Wissick here. Got a little entertainment with the dog here. I'm here talking about, today we're going to talk about voting and, different things and why I think you should vote, for Hillary Clinton. It's taken me some courage to do this I know that there are some people out on my Facebook who have some very strong feelings against her, about her, for various reasons. And, I thought, well, hell, maybe I'd lose some friends over this, but I got to say what I got to say, and, that's that. And, I'm talking to certain people, and, just know that no matter what, I love you, but, I'm here to, I'm here to say this is why you should vote for Hillary Clinton, and this is including my own feelings, so when Hillary Clinton and, when Bernie Sanders lost California by 2 percentage points to Hillary Clinton, it looked like she had pretty much secured the nomination for the Democratic Party. And, I was really, really frustrated. I was a huge Bernie supporter. I still am. And I was very, very frustrated because I just felt like, the whole process of how you can buy superdelegates and how, how crappy it is and, all that stuff. And I was just really, really steamed up, and I was really upset, and I said, well, it's just, it's BS, I don't like it, but, and I was really mad, and I thought, it wasn't something where I was like, okay, well, crap, I gotta vote for Hillary. I really thought about, voting for Jill Stein, and I was just like, man, I don't have to go lesser of two evils. And, I was steamed up, I was mad, and I said, well, let's see, and I'm going to see who I'm going to vote for, and I said, well, let's see what Bernie does, and I was upset, and, the thing about it is that Bernie came out, and he did a really, really good video about, about why people should support Hillary Clinton, and here's the deal, it's not that, as far as Hillary's concerned, she's not the only person that can do stuff. It kind of got me upset because when he came out and supported her, a lot of people said, oh, Bernie sold out to the establishment, he did this. Bernie didn't sell out to the establishment. If Bernie had sold out to the establishment, he would have just given her the superdelegates that he had won. He would have said, just pledge it to Hillary Clinton, and you guys can just go to the convention and do that. But the fact that he went to the convention and he took his delegates there, and they negotiated with Clinton, and they did that stuff, and they said, and they did that stuff, and they, he made her do this, and, the fact of the matter is this: no candidate for a major party, since 1980, when all the money started coming into politics, when Reagan was running for president, there's no candidate that really has been able to run, without being funded by major corporations and super PACs, unfortunately. Bernie showed that it could be done. He showed that it could be done because now he has social media, and now he has different media outlets and different things where he can get his message across. And we need to keep doing that, And Bernie pledged his support to her, and he did that with conditions, and he, that was something that he did. And the thing about it is, Jill Stein, she says a lot of things that I agree with. She's the Green Party candidate. But here's the deal. The fact of the matter is that, Green Party and Libertarians, and, the Libertarians, which were formerly the Republicans, really, the Republican Party it's not even recognizable anymore. But my point is, is that for third parties to work, Bernie technically is an independent. He's technically an independent, and he and Angus King both, who's been the longtime governor and now senator from Maine, they're both independents, but technically they're Democrats because they still caucus with the Democrats a lot. They just don't, they don't like to take the money from the Democratic Party or, different super PACs and stuff, and that's a good thing. But at the same time, at the end of the day, they still support the Democrats on the issues that matter. And the thing about people say, oh, well, it's so crappy, there are only two parties, the two-party system is BS and this and that. Well, here's the thing. Folks, in other countries, they do have more than two political parties. It's true, in Europe and stuff like that, they have more than two political parties. But the thing about it is that for multi-party systems to work, outside of two parties, there's coalition building, there's compromise. Different parties agree on certain issues, and they get together and they coalition build. The people running for president and people that have run in the past, Ralph Nader, different people like that. Ralph Nader, Jill Stein now, Gary Johnson. These people are all people that, I think they have some good ideas. They say some stuff. Ross Perot, I think his idea about NAFTA was great. But here's the thing about these people, folks. They come out and they make these runs for president and stuff like that. And what they do is they make a run for president, and it takes a substantial amount of votes away from one candidate. And a vote for who you believe in is a vote for who you believe in. But here's the deal: they do that, but then they between presidential elections, they just kind of put themselves underground again. They don't show up. They don't do different things. They do that. 4 years goes by. And then they pop their heads out again and talk about how the two different parties are just the same. And the fact of the matter is that the two parties aren't the same. They're very different. If they were the same, there wouldn't be as much division as there is. But since 1980, the fact is that there have been a lot more. There's been a lot more stuff. It used to be that the two parties just disagreed on social welfare issues. The Republicans believe that you should pull yourself up by your bootstraps, when the Democrats believe that it was good to have some government in there and good to have certain programs that were safety nets, and that's something that I believe in, and at the end of the day, why I'm a Democrat. But the thing about it is that Bernie Sanders and Hillary Clinton both agree on certain issues that are very important. They think that climate change is real. And, that's the thing about it, and that's the way you got to look at things, is the cup's half full. Hillary Clinton, Tim Kaine, they may have some dealings where they've given some leeway to the fossil fuel industry, which I'm not the biggest fan of. But the thing you got to look at, the way you got to look at it is this, folks. We have a whole Republican Party, a large percentage of that party, pretty much, and the party's platform is that they say that global warming doesn't exist, And the fact that there are any Democrats out there at all, and even some Republicans like Lindsey Graham, who have said that global warming exists, that even acknowledge that it exists, that that don't buy into the whole pseudoscientific belief that it doesn't exist. The fact that they even acknowledge that's, to me, that's progress. And that should be progress to you too. That's something that you should think of, as far as different stuff is concerned. And that's just something here, and it's something that, it's like myself, I'm a progressive Democrat, but, at the same time, I call myself a socialist Democrat. But, one of the great things about the Democratic Party is that there are a lot of different people in there with different views that vary. But that's why I like that, because I think that, obviously not all Republicans are the same, but at the same time, I just feel like, they like to kind of just make someone and mold someone into what a Republican is. And, it's just, it's not something that it's just too confined. I like, you meet different Democrats, and I go to the party, and, I let them know my feelings about how I think that Bernie Sanders got a little shorted by certain things. And, I let them know that. But at the same time, it's good to get to know those people, because you share your opinions on things, and and at the end of the day, you come to a good compromise. And people say, well, Obama promised us all this change, and he didn't deliver, and this and that. Well, here's the thing, folks. The Republicans were bought and sold by the Koch brothers, the ones that founded the Tea Party. And as far as all that's concerned, right from the beginning, the Republicans, Mitch McConnell, got up on the steps of the Capitol building and said that our goal is to make Obama a one-term president. He said that flat out when the economy was terrible. He said that. And, and that's just, to me, you know, that's grounds for treason. I mean, you know, when you put your political party before you put the country, you know, that's terrible. That's just awful. And you know, and a lot of people didn't even see that because all they do is watch Fox News, and Fox News didn't report it, and because Fox News didn't report it, it didn't happen. You know, but on top of that, you know, in 2 midterm elections, not enough Democrats showed up. In 2010, people took a nap. The Republicans and the Tea Party came in and, you know, just came into power, and they obstructed Obama from being able to get anything done. Even when he wanted to come up with moderate Republican legislation, you know, to try and get certain things passed and at least get something done, they wouldn't even do that. You know, they haven't let him do a thing. And, you know, in 2014, you know, if we had had 2 votes from Republicans, the minimum wage would have been raised. In the Democratic Party, everyone in the Senate that was Democrat voted for a minimum wage raise. You know, so that was something that, you know, Democrats should have been a whole lot more fired up to show up at the polls in 2014 and say, what? Not 2 Republicans didn't vote for, you know, a raise of the minimum wage. We want to get them out of office. But you know what? They showed up. They you know, they stayed home. They didn't vote. And, you know, that's what happens. And you know, that's what happens when you don't vote. You know, you got to vote. And, you know, this election, you got to vote. You vote for Hillary Clinton. And then it's not done after this election. You know, she wins, and I hope to God she does. You know, the thing is that once that happens, you have to know that you have to show up to the polls every year, and you have to show up, and you have to elect progressive Democrats. You know, I mean, the thing about it is that, you know, it's one of those things where, you know, granted, in the past, you know, Bill and Hillary, you know, some of the things that they've done, you know, have been a little more conservative, but the fact is this, you know, when it comes to gay marriage, yes, Clinton did pass DOMA, which I'm not a huge fan of. But at the same time, the mere fact that he even let people have civil unions that would grant them their legal rights, you know, as far as getting benefits and accepting that, you know, 2 people were together, you know, at all, even if it wasn't allowed to be called marriage, you know, that was a great thing. I mean, the fact that they would even get that, and that people in the South could, even certain Southern Democrats and people that were teetering, could even see that it was wrong to deny people, you know, their rights, you know, based on their sexuality, is progressive. You know, that by their standards is progressive. Maybe not by ours, but, you know, we have to take a look at that and say, hey, you know what? That's pretty darn good. You know, that's something that we should do. And, you know, as far as, you know, that's the thing, is it's coalition building, you know, and as other Democrats, we have to make those that are a little more conservative Democrats, it's our job to help them realize, you know, that, hey, you know, maybe our position is a little bit, you know, our position is better, and, you know, that sometimes taking calculated risks, you know, is part of politics. We can't just always play it safe. You know, sometimes it's good, but we got to do that, you know, and President Obama, you know, the thing about Obamacare is, yeah, personally, I would like single-payer health care. You know, I would. I think at the very least, though, what we should have is a public option. Obama didn't pass that because he didn't think that, you know, the Republicans would go for it. And initially, he did what was their plan, you know, and he thought that, well, if I did their plan, you know, yeah, they'd be more on board with it, but they weren't. You know, the Koch brothers didn't want that, and the Tea Party controls that, you know, and unfortunately, you know, Obama's the kind of guy where, you know, he's got a compromising personality, and he wants to see the best in people. But the fact of the matter is that the other party hasn't, you know, they haven't worked with him at all. You know, he's been more disrespected than any other president in the history of the United States. You know, so that's something you got to take into account. You know, is that if Hillary Clinton's elected president, you know, in midterm elections, you know, in mayoral elections, which happened the year before and after, you know, presidential campaigns and midterms, you know, we have to show up to those things. We got to get involved in local government too. You know, you can't just think that the presidency is the be-all, end-all of everything, because it's not. If that was the case, Obama would have been able to pass a lot more than he has been able to, but he hasn't. You know, in the state of North Carolina, you know, McCrory refused the expansion of Medicaid, and that's why But he said, okay, yeah, that's fine though. I'll still let the consumer mandate go so that everyone can get mad about saying that, they were forced to buy healthcare and that healthcare prices went up.